Hey y'all, happy Monday night. For some reason, my daughter wanted to make a cameo. Hi, it's your girl, Mrs. D Green 2.0, and my light-skinned twin, Miss Bowie Curry Lynn.
Hey, Coco's down here. Come on, Coco, let's go.
And my other daughter, my Cocker Spaniel, Chihuahua, and Dachshund mix. A little unorthodox tonight. There's a lot going on. So I'm in my home office. My daughter just finished with the virtual class with her modeling and acting course that she signed up with. And then I am working on a file for a client that is, they want to pay out their annual merit increase. So they're going to try to pay them. Well, the goal is to have them paid out by January. So we're just finalizing everything for the budget. And I have to review it with the VP over the account tomorrow. So yeah, I'm working a little late, but that's not why we came here to talk. We are here to discuss the Real Housewives of Potomac season 10, episode 10. And the name of the episode was titled Blunt Truths. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't really feeling this episode. I really wasn't. Lots of filler. Lots of filler. And usually I honor filler because I feel like it carries the story along. But in this case, I just feel like these were small little hiccups within the group that were attempted to be ironed out and failed miserably. And then we had a scene with Ashley and her little boy toy. I thought that was very distasteful to embarrass him in that way. Hopefully they had a conversation first before she did what she did on camera. And then she also decided to lump her sister in and try to embarrass her. I don't like it. Monique and Giselle finally got to sit down, but you know, I feel like Monique represented more growth in that conversation than Giselle did. But you know, of course, since I'm doing this a day late, I've heard everything, like a lot of people's opinions. And I know Monique appeared on Watch What Happens Live and she said that there were some things that were left out. So I don't understand, production, why you choose to protect Giselle. We will not look at her any less. I don't know if she has like some sort of special relationship with you all to where she can contract it that way, but it does us no favors. It does you no favors. It does no favor to Giselle for you to protect her in that way. So if she did show herself to be vulnerable and cop to some things in that scene, we would have liked to see it. I actually heard that similar thing happened between her and Wendy last season when they met up to iron out all their stuff so that they could exist in the group, you know, going forward. And you guys didn't show any of that. So I don't know. So anywho, I'm just giving you guys some highlights because honestly, like I said, this episode was not all that for me. I literally have, and no bullshit, you know, I always usually have like, oh shoot, I cursed and it's not even 5 minutes. Who cares? I'm not monetized anyway. F it, right? But I usually have about 5 pages of notes. I have, no lie, 2.5. So maybe this recap will be fast. So before I get into it, I forgot to say, please like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell once you do subscribe. And again, I'm not sure about the hyping capability, but if I have it, hype your girl, okay? All right, all right. And then tell people about my channel, okay? And also engage. You know, I'm a intellectually stimulated type of person. I love to engage in conversation and comments, so feel free to leave one, all right? I will respond back. Even if you're disrespectful, I have a witty way of curtailing that. You can voice your opinion. Now, I don't want to quit. I'm not a quitter. But given the pace of this show, where it is right now at episode 10, we're what, mid-season? It's becoming a little boring to recap. Not much is happening that's keeping my interest. In all honesty, since episode 8, it's literally just been me being devoted to the concept of continuity and consistency is why I'm recapping, because I was very annoyed last week, as you guys saw. This week was, so, like I said, I'm going to try to stay the course, but, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try. I am excited though. I'll do a little plug. My Beverly Hills Girls are back, and I did recap that season 15, episode 1. So be sure to check that one out, okay? That season, I think, is gonna be a fire season. So can't wait to see how that goes. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and get started on this episode. Anyway. So it starts out with Giselle and Wendy at the car dealership. She is shopping for a G-Wagon, which, if you don't know, well, why would you know? You guys don't know me personally. But a G-Wagon is actually my dream car. I love Mercedes. That's my luxury car of choice. And my ultimate goal, once I feel like accomplished and successful and can make that bold move, is to purchase a G-Wagon. Giselle was shopping for an electric one. Not doing that. I'm an old school gas guzzling girl. I don't know. It's just electric cars for me. I know they're good for the planet and, you know, consumer consciousness, beautiful thing. But realistically, I need more reliability. I can't wait till the day comes where they have as many charging stations as they do gas stations. Once we get that, I think I'll feel a little more comfortable driving an exclusive electric car. I would do a hybrid before I would do a full electric, but y'all didn't come over here to hear that, right? But who can relate, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, I need to be able to get to a gas station or some sort of station if something happened. But anyway. So Giselle's shopping. She's looking at her G-Wagon. In comes Wendy. The outfits. Wendy doesn't even look like she put in a lot of effort, and she looked good. Giselle looks like she really thought about her outfit, and it looked a hot mess. She had on this loud pink long, it was like a one sleeve on this side, no sleeve on this side, like those shirts that were really popular in the late thousands, early 2010s. And then she had on some white shorts. And like I said, Giselle's a beautiful woman, but her fashion choices make her look dated a lot of times. Like, I just wish she would just get with a stylist. I know at this point that phrase is cliche in itself, because I'm not the first, nor am I going to be the last person to say that in reference to Giselle. Gorgeous lady, beautiful, natural beauty. But I just wish she really saw herself and saw how her clothes date her. They make her look a lot older than she is. And she's not. She's youthful. She's a bad woman. So she should dress as such. But anyway, so Wendy comes in. She tells Giselle jokingly, I'm just going to let you know up front, I'm not doing quite a Stacy because I'm not copying, but I'm thinking about buying a G-Wagon myself. We all know what's going on in the background, so it's like, oh boy, with what money? And then she, they're kind of going back and forth regarding Stacy, because that was the whole reason why she made that comment. And Giselle's like, well, I'm going to let you have her. You can have her. Because Wendy's like, while Wendy is contributing to the critique of Stacy, Wendy's not throwing her to the wolves. She's like, you know, she's a cool girl. She's sweet. You know, she just don't, like, keep it real. She lies, like, for no reason. And then she said, you know how people who may admire something that you do, but they may not necessarily say it, however they will mimic it. That's Stacy. And I was like, okay, I like Stacy, but I could see that, you know, I could see that. And I guess people don't want to, I don't know, like, this is a side note, because I'm a little bit of a free spirit and I'm carefree, and I've gone through so much trauma in my life that I really don't care about how people view me. So I have grown out of that, trying to appease people and kind of like dim my light, even if my light is spontaneous, colorful, fluorescent, whatever. I don't dim it. What you see is what you get. So if someone does something and you do like it, you admire it, like, keep it real and say, oh, I like it. Now, if that person negatively takes it and says, oh, she's a biter, you know how people are ignorant. Oh, she copies me. No, I look at that more of a, someone made an impression on you, and, you know, you They did something that you like, so you followed the blueprint. What's wrong with that? Like, we're not supposed to gatekeep, right? Each one teach one. So I don't see the issue in someone coming forward and saying, I liked what you did and I want to, you know, mock that idea, or I want to replicate that idea. You know, it seems to be successful. So, so I can understand Wendy's sentiment behind that. I remember when I was hanging out with this girl, well, this lady. She was a friend of my ex, and she talked about how she liked Christian Dior's lipstick because it doesn't run. And I like lipstick. I like Savage Fenty. I like MAC. And so when she told me about the lipstick not running, because I love a red lip, like no matter, I will get red from the cheapest to the most expensive. So when she said it didn't run, I got the red, and I told her, I said, yeah, when you told me about that, I went and got me some. Didn't think anything of it. Now, if she chose to, you know, run with, oh, she's copying me, that's on her ass. But, you know, I feel like it's paying homage to someone that gave you a tip. So why not come forward? I don't know. Stacey, I like Stacey, but I do kind of see what some of the ladies say or are trying to say in reference to how she's moving in the group. It's, like I said earlier in the season, you don't have to literally lie to kick it, Stacey. You're a grown-ass woman. You know, I get some things when it comes to like your man and stuff, things that are really coveted to you. And I guess your business could be something that you covet too. But you're on a live platform with these women. So you may as well just put yourself out there. And if you are held to the fire, go through it. Ashley actually said that later in the episode where she tried to level with Stacey, and it was kind of like a gentle breaking of the fourth wall. I'll get to that scene later. I'm trying to jump ahead, but let me get back to this scene. So, let me see. Oh, so they're going on the test drive. They get in the car. They're talking in the car. They bring up how Monique is back in the group, and Giselle is actually showing that she's pleased with Monique being back in the group. She said it feels like the old crew is back again, like back together. And I'll agree, like that cast when it was them, because they said, oh, Karen, we're missing Karen, you know, it would just be complete. It was Monique, Candace, Karen, Ashley, Robin, Giselle. It was a good cast. It was. It was. So I would like to see that too. I doubt Candace will ever come back on the scene with Monique. That would be a day in hell. I'd love to see it though. I wish the network did organize some sort of sit down with them, because those two are really the ones that need to sit down and hash out everything, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I understood what they were saying, what Giselle was saying. Because Giselle her job is to keep the show going. As long as the show is going, these ladies have money coming in, and Giselle wants to have a solid show. So I think Giselle is more or less saying not so much the friendship, but the dynamic in this group that brings such a good production. And yeah, she's right, it does work, because the women they have added recently, with the exception of Stacey, because Stacey's she's bringing it. She's a polarizing character. So hey, she's definitely creating a show. She's like the main topic so far. So keep her. But I don't know about Tia, Angel, and Kiarna. I don't know. Jury's still out on Tia. My wins have kind of sailed on her, but tonight she kind of got me back a little bit, because I understood what she was saying. It got drowned out a little bit, but I definitely understood what she was trying to convey to Stacey. See, I'm having more of a conversation instead of recapping scene by scene, because that's just how much there wasn't going on in this episode. So anyway, let's get to the next scene. So we have Stacey meeting with her friend AJ, discussing her launch. So she's gonna launch her cannabis line on Juneteenth. So I'm assuming this is like a week or a couple days before that, middle of June, my birthday month. I was in California for Juneteenth. I actually flew out that day to California. Yeah, Juneteenth is a special day for more than one way. If you're interested to know why, just listen to my recaps. It's it's a turning point day for me. But anyway, so she's telling AJ that she is the first African American woman in the state of Virginia to launch a cannabis line, and that's historical. And it is. Kudos to you. Kudos to you, Stacey. So she's telling AJ that she's invited all the girls to come to show her support, kind of going over their dynamics. And then she mentions Tia and how Tia has tried to come for her and like she's not liking it. And then her friend says, wait a minute, you let somebody from across the pond check you? Because Stacey's like imitating her voice while she's trying to check her or whatever and mocking her. You know how it is when you tell a story to a friend. And I was like, yeah, she did kind of check you from across the pond. And he's like, and you're from Detroit? You're from the D? So yeah, so I keep that in mind because what AJ was doing was sowing a seed that we're going to see harvest at the end of the episode. All right, so speaking of Tia, we get to Tia. She's at her office. She's discussing how I guess her business is growing, so it's time for her to start building a team to help support her with her business because there's just some things that she can't get to with her real estate. And then she mentions how she didn't learn business acumen until late because for most of her life, she was sheltered from that because she had money, but then her dad didn't make sound investments, so the money eventually faded away. He did not come from money, so he did not learn how to sustain it. That is one of my biggest fears about being successful. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out there. God, get rid of that, okay? I want to achieve so much, but I too don't come from like money. And I've gotten a little bit of it as I got older. And that's part of the reason why I got involved in real estate and became a landlord, because I wanted to park some money somewhere. Because I wanted, if anything, I wanted my daughter to have somewhere to live if she didn't have wealth, so at least she's never homeless. And yeah, that's when no one's really showing you, you can't really pass it on. So I actually talk to my daughter when we're dealing with the real estate, because I work with Pat Split here in Atlanta. And I'm going over all of this with her, like trying to teach her now at 10 years old so she can learn this. So I was appreciative of Tia bringing that to the forefront, because even though she has royalty in her blood and she comes from money, I felt like that was a way of her kind of being vulnerable and transparent about like what happened, you know, with her father not maintaining the money and how she ended up where she is now in terms of how she's working. I hate to say this, but that explains a lot, because I'll be honest, Tia has been telling us this whole season that she comes from money and she grew up with wealth and, you know, the royalty thing. But I was noticing the fashions don't represent that, and her house. Now, it's a lived-in house with 6 people, but even still, it's not that she has to have anything grand. But if you work in real estate and you come from a certain background, I, as a viewer, I am going to have a certain expectation when I'm looking at your aesthetic, your lifestyle. I'm going to expect to see certain things, and I just hadn't seen that. So I was glad that she actually pointed that out, because it answered a lot of questions that I had regarding her wealth and her status. Not that I care. In my real life, I don't care. You do you. How you make your living and how you live your life, that's on you. But when you're on a television show and I'm a spectator, I'm an observer, I'm gonna be somewhat of a judger. So there's that. So anyway, next scene. So we got Ashley and Josh. I caught this. They flashed Josh's name on the screen as Ashley's situationship. Y'all know how I feel about situationships if you heard me earlier. I don't fucking do it. Okay, let me stop lying. Let me stop lying. There's no shame in my game. I don't believe in situationships, but I do believe in, if you have had a relationship with someone, right, and you're both single, and if the sex was bomb, and until conditions approve, you don't want to just sleep with anyone, I'm okay with the whole fuck buddy concept with said ex. Who said that? That's just me. I mean, because, like, it's just too much of a risk to be attaching yourself to more soul ties and exposing yourself. But know, but that's a different conversation. Maybe I'll start like a playlist of D Green is a little colorful, okay, if you haven't noticed that. But anyway, back to Ashley. All right, so they're going to like a Dave and Buster's type of place, and they're having fun. Ashley says in the confessional that when she met Josh, she was in a different place. She was still married, but in the thick of her divorce, and she just basically wanted something that was fresh, young, different from what she was used to. Now a year has gone by, and usually you reflect after a year and kind of take inventory over everything and, you know, evaluate if that's where you want to be. So she's trying to lead Josh into this conversation, basically saying to him, you know, I just want to see where we are. You know, there's usually a chain of events that happen, and I'm not sure if you and I are going to want the same things, because Ashley's saying she's not sure if she wants to have any more kids. Josh is young, has never been married, nor does he have kids. And I'm just like, I'm following her so far. I was going like this with this conversation. Follow me. Then she mentions how the caliber of men she's used to dating has shown her a different way of life, and she's not sure if Josh would be able to sustain that, because she is financially responsible for a lot of people in her life, and she wants a man that's going to be able to help her with that. Then I was like, okay, sounds like you're not gold digging, but you are looking from a place of financial expectation. Of course, Josh is offended by that, because she doesn't know his finances. He's like, you know, defending himself. He says, you know, I'm not flashy. And that's true. Just because people have money does not mean that they're spending it all on that flashy stuff. Josh may look like, I can't really describe his style, but he's definitely not flashy. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a portfolio. Craig from Southern Charm is a good example of this, okay? Craig, when he first burst on the scene, was a little cutie. He was the poorer one out of all of the guys. Now, if you don't watch Southern Charm is a show on Bravo that's based in Charleston, South Carolina. Lots of old money boys when it first started out, and the joke was that these boys have like Peter Pan syndrome. They don't want to grow up, right? So when Craig came on the scene, he was the young lawyer that didn't have money. He was actually in, I think, his last year of law school and interning with the law office the first season. Second season, I know what it was. Craig got a taste of this reality TV money and just started wilding out. So he ended up losing his job at the law firm for interning, because he started getting into modeling and different habits and stuff. I started seeing his star rise, but as his star was rising, Craig started looking a little weathered, okay? Craig is still cute, but Craig doesn't look like, you know, he has a lot of money. He doesn't, he's not really flashy. But Craig, and this is where I'm going with this, Craig has real estate portfolio. Craig has a law degree. Craig, you know, you can, like I said, you look at him and you wouldn't think it. Same thing with like these Silicon Valley guys, right? They are not flashy. Doesn't mean that they don't have money in the bank. So I understood when Josh was trying to stand his ground and tell her, you don't know my financial situation. Ashley's like, oh, we haven't even traveled internationally. And he's like, well, I did invite you to Pittsburgh. You know, you don't remember that? And I'm like, okay. All right. So now, like I said, I was going up and down. I get where Ashley's coming from. She's used to, you know, she said a guy rented out a restaurant for her, shut it down, flew her on a private jet. Michael and her were always doing like fun things, traveling. So I got what she was saying. But again, it doesn't mean that Josh can't do it. Then this is where I was like, okay, I understand what she's saying when it comes down to it. Because I said this in my recap, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was last week or the week before. But Ashley said watching her mom financially struggle, it placed in her how serious you need to be more or less about your life. And it is very critical when you choose a partner that you choose a partner that can pour into you and make life easier for you versus be a burden. So it's like, do you want an asset or a liability when you're choosing your partner? And so that has encouraged Ashley to be a little bit more strategic and intentional when she's choosing a partner. She's choosing for love, but love don't pay the bills. She's choosing for that too. And with that, I can't even fault Ashley for that because that's smart. That is smart. Here's the thing. Your parents, as a parent, and I'm a parent, I'm the type of parent that I believe I am supposed to do better for my child, okay? I have the resources, I have the tools, I have the opportunities that my parents did not have. So I am supposed to do better. That is the child of a parent that could not do better thinking like that. So same thing with Ashley. Ashley is the child of a parent who did not make good choices. So she was very smart about how she was going to go about with her life. Now, granted, she did it by way of marriage. I did it by way of going to college, getting a master's degree, married. I married a good guy. My husband was a really good guy. Marine Corps, a Freemason, came from a good family, Scottish American family. You know, wasn't rich, but somebody I could build with, and we were able to build together. And so I chose a different route. But however you do it, the goal is to do better than the generation before you. And if you are a generation providing, you are supposed to provide better for the generation following you. So Ashley is, like I said, she's strategic about her life, and I can't even fault her for that. So looks like Ashley and Josh may have broken up. Yeah, so we'll see. Like I said, I didn't like how she did it, you know, as a storyline and on national television. I hope they were able to have a conversation before she put that out there, you know, to kind of prime him so that he's not embarrassed. But, you know, that's Ashley. All right, so now we've got Monique and Giselle meeting up. I haven't been as anxious to see this conversation happen. I've been more wanting to see Candace and Monique sit down and have a conversation. But we'll take what we can get. So, Monique says in her confessional, she's tried to give Giselle grace, but she's always looked at Giselle as being a hater and, you know, just miserable with her life. I mean, and she ain't lying. We all saw that. Because it's like, you real pretty, but you got a lot of nastiness inside of you. So, and then Giselle does the funny thing of saying, do we begin with drag me, Monique? Because that's what led to Candace and Monique getting into a fight. Candace kept provoking Monique. It wasn't all on Candace. It wasn't. It was, Monique should have, you know, had some restraint, but y'all know I'm a Monique fan, so I give Monique grace, and I understand why she snapped. And I'm glad she's actually vocalizing why she snapped, because I saw it. I saw the anger and the rage in her. Didn't necessarily see the disconnect between her and her husband, but based on how he acted, I understand how there could be a disconnect. He was very set in his ways and didn't really seem to have a lot of emotional intelligence. He really was just set on being a provider. Southern man, he's from Alabama. So I could see how over time that could drive you crazy. When a man doesn't have emotional intelligence, it's almost like you're in a relationship with a child that just has a large bank account, a grown-ass boy. So anyway, neurodivergent diva, okay, read the description. Anyway, so they're talking, and like I said earlier, there was a lot cut out of this because the way it was framed for us, it was as if Monique was apologizing for all of the wrong she did, when we all know that have been day one, that was not the case, especially between Monique and Giselle. It was literally Giselle threw the first jab. I told y'all, I have been watching Housewives since I was 23. I am now 41. So I have watched all, even the once I dropped off later seasons, I still keep up. But before I dropped off, I watched all of the different franchises and their respective seasons. So I've been watching since season 1, Potomac. And season 2, when Monique came in through Charisse. She was cool. She was young. She was pretty. She was thin. She had young children. She had a husband with money. Giselle seemed to be threatened by that. The first time they actually met and they sat down and seen, they were at the Willard, okay? This is when they were having like a little tea party or whatever. Monique was telling people, she was talking to the group about them like finding a home in Potomac, because I think they lived in Virginia at the time, but they have 4 homes. So when she's saying that, Giselle comes in with this air of, oh, let me try to get her. Oh, you don't have a home? And Monique was like, I have 4 homes. Shut her right down. So when it comes to Giselle and Monique, Monique was just returning serve. So I thought it was very interesting that production decided to kind of like forget that for us, because even though Monique ultimately did get into a physical fight, for her to be held with the responsibility to do the sole apologizing, not cool. Not cool. So I was glad that Monique let us know in her Watch What Happened Live appearance that there was more to it. So network, stop protecting Giselle. Okay, we're not stupid. At least the people who are veterans that have been watching, we know what it is. You don't have to protect her. Okay? All right. So anyway, Monique's saying how she's done a lot of self-reflection. And like I said, she was doing a lot of the apologizing. You could tell the growth has occurred, because she said she was in a space where she had a lot of things she hadn't resolved. She was talking to her parents about some things. She hadn't resolved it from her childhood that occurred. She had a lot of anger pent up and frustration with life at that time. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's the type of vulnerability that really shows when someone can reflect and show you, because she mentioned you peel back the layers when you're left with yourself, when you've gone through something traumatic, you peel back the layers and you uncover a lot of truths about yourself. And as she's like, giving us the list of this, I see that this is authentic. I would like to see that happen with Giselle. I wish Giselle could say something like, I was very hurt by my ex-husband who cheated on me with a lot of women. And in college, I was placed on a pedestal because of my light skin and my green eyes. And I was like a big sister with my line sister. So I got away with a lot. I had a superiority complex. And me being with my husband who cheated on me and fathered children outside of our marriage, that brought me off of my pedestal. And I have been struggling ever since when it comes down to me being in groups with women who I feel are maybe a threat. See how easy that is? See how easy that is? That's what I want to hear. And I'm sure that's what it is. Giselle, why can't we get that? I think if you all allow for her to peel back her layer, if she wanted to, we would see Giselle as more human. I'm all for being strong, but when there's an apparent weakness in you and it's visible, I don't like acting like that shit don't exist. Okay? It's part of the human condition. Giselle, you're not absolved from it. Anyway, so Monique was telling Giselle how she had an issue with how Giselle is always in other people's relationships. But then, she seems to not really give much on her relationship. And then she said, when Giselle came after her relationship with that whole trainer rumor and the comments she was making towards her husband, calling him big boy, that's when Monique decided to pounce on Giselle and come for her. Now, I like Monique, but Monique, that is not the first time you went after Giselle's relationships. You're talking about season 5. Why don't we take 2 seasons back and go to season 3 when you and Charisse came together to bring Kendall onto the show and then reveal that stuff about Sherman, and that put the strain on Giselle and Sherman's relationship. That's when you first came after Giselle's relationship. So let's not, like I said, I like my girl, but I'm fair. Season 5 was not the first time you went after Giselle's relationship. So I was like, okay. So there was some stuff edited out for Monique too. So, let's see. Okay, I went through everything. I had notes that kind of helped me with my points, but I got all my points out. At the end of it, they both agreed to foster communication in the group. So they agreed if they talk crap about each other, let it be in jest. If it's not in jest, let them talk about it, vice versa. Regardless of how it's done, let's just be sure to communicate about it. So this way we don't have any more hiccups. And I'm all on board for that. Very grown woman. All right, so this next scene, we got Greg ring shopping. I'm just going to breeze through this. I don't bit more fucking believe that Greg is about to buy Kiana a ring over 6 figures, okay? Last week, Kiana was put on the spot for not having a ring. Kiana probably bitched to Greg. Greg said, I'll do you a solid. Kiana wasn't even in this episode now that I'm thinking about it. She was in the confessional for like 2 seconds. So I think that this was just an attempt to redeem Kiana's from her embarrassment last week because Stacey pointed out she didn't have a ring. And at the end of this scene, you know, Greg says she'll be happy with whatever I get her. I was looking at the mom's face. I was looking at Angel's face because Angel was there helping ring shop. And yeah, that's what it comes down to. It was just Greg doing Kiana a solid, you know, trying to sell us the idea that this is on the horizon and I'm going to get the best ring for her. Y'all ain't have to do that. We don't care. All right, so next scene you have Ashley shopping with her younger sister. I think her name is Jessica. And she's helping her get things situated for her dorm. She's about to go off to college, University of Maryland. I actually stayed at University of Maryland. Side note, one of my side notes. I stayed there because I attended a conference. And they rented out, I guess, all the student dorm rooms and housed us there. So instead of giving us hotels, they placed us on the on the campus. And it was cool because I ended up getting a room all to myself because the person that was going to room with me backed out. But yeah, I had never had a college dorm experience because I went to college a lot later. So I was able to get my college dorm experience that time. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really miss much. The only thing I missed was the camaraderie with my peers, but I didn't really miss much. Who wants to sleep in a room and then have to wear shower shoes to walk and take showers? Who wants to do that? But anyway, so they're talking, and Ashley's saying how she wants to be there for her sister because her sister has a very tumultuous life at home with her parents. You know, the situation with her mother and her father, the one that's not working and that's an alcoholic. Ashley says that she wants to help her sister just like her Uncle Lump helped her because her Uncle Lump, given everything that her mother was dealing with, was the one that took Ashley school shopping and looked out for her. So Uncle Lump had a really big hand in raising Ashley. I do remember her saying, I think it was like season 4 when they had that birthday party for him, how he was a father to her. But I learned a lot more as the seasons progressed that he is really like a father to her. And I love it. I love it. Good for you, Uncle Lump. Shout out to you. So she says now that she's blessed, you know, given her situation, she has to return the favor to her sister. Then she does this. And I didn't like it because it's a sensitive subject and it involves your sister. So I hope that Ashley primed her sister for this conversation because her sister ended up actually crying when they were talking about her father and him dealing with his addiction. Sister's very mature and she has, you know, I wouldn't say made peace because when she cried, that definitely wasn't coming from a place of peace, but she has accepted the conditions of her parents and she doesn't really expect more from them than they can give her. Hurts her, but she's very mature about it. So in that respect, I thank God that she has Ashley to be a supporting system for her, because if you didn't have support and you have that dysfunction at your home, it could be harder on you. So at least she does give her sister that. But I just don't like this bringing sensitive topics like this involving your family. It is your reality, Ashley. You have dysfunction going on, so I appreciate it. But at the expense of your family, I don't know. I just don't like that because these things last forever. These are impressions we're going to have on these people forever. So that's just me. All right. So I put here, I noticed Ashley cut her hair. She looked good though. She cut her hair is shorter though, I could tell. But she looks good. Ashley's come a long way. Then we get to the last scene. interconnected scenes. So you have Stacy the day of her launch. Now, okay, let me back up. I'm not sure if this was filmed the same day. They could have filmed this a different day, and maybe they just paired them so that we can have the parallel scenes. But Wendy is also attending Eddie's pop-up shop event. And so that's why I'm not going to say his was also on Juneteenth, because I know how these producers work. I know how editing works. This doesn't mean it was necessarily filmed on the same day. That's my dog scratching at the door, so let me hurry up and get this done. So you have Stacy walking in with this denim dress. She looked really pretty. Nice setup. She has 2 strains. I'm gonna assume the Rise is the sativa strain and the rest is the indica strain of her gummy. She was giving out samples there. I'm not sure if they were infused, because she made a comment about you could still drive because they're not infused. So I don't know if this was like just socializing the flavor of the gummies, kind of putting them out there, or if she was really, or maybe she was giving out samples for the flavor and then giving you the opportunity to purchase some if you wanted to purchase the real thing. So, okay. Anyway, small things. Neurodivergent. I pay attention to small things like that. Sorry. And I have a lot of energy because, like I said, I'm working on this file. So at Eddie's pop-up event, Wendy says she normally doesn't attend his pop-up events, but he's debuting a strain that he named after her called the Nutty Professor. Side note, let's just bulldoze through all the bullshit that's going on with the Ocepals. I love their love story. That man loves her down. That woman loves him down. They are so beautiful. I love how they support each other, ride for each other. They just, it's just so sad, everything that's going on with them, because they both are having a pretty good season. Him as a husband and her as a housewife. Like, her confessionals are good. Her energy with the group is good. Her comebacks are good. And to have all of this stuff going on in the background legally with them, it just hurts me. It hurts me, y'all. I know I'm not alone in this. And so, yeah, it was just like their love is just so, I love it. I'm a sucker for love. But anyway, so back and forth. So I'm going to say this one last thing about Eddie and Wendy's scene, or 2 last things. So Wendy goes to go pay for her purchase, because she does purchase something from his event. Says that she normally doesn't use her debit card. She uses credit. Again, with what's going on. Yeah. And then Eddie says, yeah, you know, some things you just can't copy or whatever. You can imitate, but you can't duplicate or whatever. And I'm just like, y'all are really trying to have this little Z level, because it's not even that serious, Z level like beef with Stacy regarding the cannabis thing. It's not a big deal. Speaking of Stacy, so going back to her event, Ashley walks in. Well, first, okay, it was Jossie, and then Tia, and then Ashley comes in too. There's some tension with Tia and Stacy, obviously. Oh, side note, I forgot to mention in Tia's scene that Stacy did call her, because Stacy sent out invitations to everyone. Actually, Tia called Stacy. Stacy sent out invitations to everyone to attend this event. Not everyone came. In the confessional, Kiarna said, no, thank you. And Giselle just flat out told her, I ain't coming because I don't want to go. Oh, Giselle. All right, so Ashley, she pops up and she tells Stacy, you know, you did support me for Pride, and regardless of what's going on with us as this group, it should never be a problem for us to support each other. So here I am supporting you. And then Stacy acknowledges that and appreciates that, pulls her over to the side, and then she's basically trying to ask her or tell her, like, I want to know where you and I go from here, if we can have, you know, a good relationship. It's just hard for me to figure out where I am with you, because it always seems to go left when I'm thinking it's going right. I'm paraphrasing. And then Ashley says, you know, and I support you for your business. I have no issue with that. I like you as a person, but every time I feel like I'm going somewhere with you, I'm met with something else that sets me back. And she's basically saying, I want to trust you. I want to be here for you. But I don't know who you are. I don't know how to really gauge you. And I know I have been saying throughout the whole season that Ashley needs to back off. But like I was going to say earlier in the recap, she did mention something in this scene that paused me a little bit because I understood what she meant by this. So fourth wall, she's basically saying, I've been present in this group for 10 years on this show, basically. The shit that we do to each other in this group, and sometimes we do things to ourselves that bring heat on us, and you have to be able to just go through the heat. Like, don't quit trying to evade it and wear these masks and like be pretentious, because that's not gonna make us trust you. Once you basically go through the fire and we take each other's shit, we actually end up getting closer, and you're more or less avoiding taking our shit. Very clever. I mean, I'll give Stacey that. She is better at it than they have been. But I definitely understood where Ashley was coming from. It's like, stop trying to run from, you know, you basically put yourself in this position to be nailed to the wall. Can you just take this L? Take it, and then we can move on. But the more you try to avoid it and then more things come out, the less we're going to trust you and the more we're going to be on you. Now, I wonder if they're going to do that to Karen and Wendy. Or, I mean, I guess it depends on how Karen and Wendy handle it. Never really noticed them to do it to Giselle, though. They definitely didn't do it to Robin when she lied about that shit with Juan. They were trying. But, I don't know. It seems to be a little bit of double standard in there. Anyway, so they're good. They did have a little bit of tense back and forth where Ashley said, I respect you, but I just don't want you to be a lying asshole about your business. I support you in your business. And then Stacey doing that. You know how she does it. Her Karen, I'm a lying hoe, like trying to pretend. In that scene, I wasn't going for it because I'm like, stop it, Stacey. You got what she was saying. Like, let her have it. Stop gaslighting her. So then now, Stacey's sitting down, still kind of unpacking the tension. And then now it's Tia's turn to iron out her differences with Stacey. So Tia, I forgot who broached the conversation first. I think it was Stacey. So Stacey's saying, basically with Tia, it disappoints me that you and I weren't able to be cool. I didn't appreciate how you basically tried to make it seem like I was being dishonest about my husband not coming to dinner and trying to poke holes in why that didn't happen. Now, because I didn't watch last season, I did catch a little bit of the reunion. I think this has something to do with the reunion. Follow me. So, Stacey's reason for introducing Tia first, I think is very layered, okay? I think the fact that Tia comes from royalty, which can kind of like align more with like European traditions and mannerisms, she felt comfortable bringing someone like Tia around Timo first because, let's face it, these fucking women are messy as hell. Even though Wendy and her are cool, Tia mentioned that she did not want to bring Timo around Wendy and Eddie first because it was actually Wendy and Eddie that brought to the reunion all of that stuff that went on with the guy she brought on last season as her boyfriend, TJ. So then I was like, oh, that makes sense why she wouldn't want to introduce Timo to them first because, again, they're cool, but their history, they're still like, there's no cleanup there. So Stacey felt, and she said it, I did this with you because I felt you were the most neutral, and then you turned out to be messy. When she explained it like that, I understood where she was coming from. I did. And, but I also understood Tia to a degree. So Tia's point of view is, when I first came into the group, I heard a lot about you. I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? Then some things were shown to me by you that made me question even trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. Are you deserving of it? Because you do seem to be a dishonest person. Then she mentioned that Stacy said to her, have my back in this group. One of those off-camera, like, side conversations that people have when it comes to the dynamics of the group. That, it's her word against hers. I can't say she's lying or whatever. But, I don't know. I was like, okay, I can see both sides with this. From Tia's point of view, it's like, I was trying to assess your character on my own. Not necessarily look for the things that were, you know, discussed about your character, but you ended up proving to me that those things are indeed true. So yeah, they go back and forth. Stacy's friend AJ is looking at all of this go down. Now, mind you, he was the person that told Stacy she needed to check people, right? But I was watching his face and I'm like, I don't think he meant like this, because he was like looking at her like Stacy, the way she was responding to Tia. And then once Stacy got tired of it, now granted, Stacy's had the girls pile on her, right? Pile on all this time. And I think Tia was just the casualty of all of that. She did say that Tia pretends that she's so prim and proper, but look how she acts. And then, you know, Tia was cursing her out, you know, because it's in her. Tia is prim and proper, but I mean, you married to somebody from Chicago, you got to have a little bit of an edge to you. The South Side at that, you got to have a little bit of an edge to you. I speak from experience, okay? I was raised on the South Side of Chicago in my formative years from ages 10 to 18. I went to Dulles Elementary on Martin Luther King Drive. I went to Diet Middle School off of Martin Luther King Drive as well, but it was like further down on 55th. Dulles was on 63rd Street. I went to Lindblom Middle School after I left Diet because I had moved out of the area on the more southwestern side of Chicago. And then from Lindblom, I went to Harper High School for freshman, sophomore year, and then I graduated from South Shore High School. Your girl is South Side through and through, okay? In case y'all didn't know. So if you are married to somebody from Chicago, you're going to have an edge. So they need to learn Chicago before they condemn Tia for having her edge. Because even though she's royalty, the girl can hang. Her husband is from the South Side. Anyway, so they go back and forth and then it gets heated and Stacy stands up and says, you know what, Miss Prim and Proper, get the hell out of my events. Toodaloo, toodaloo. And then her friend AJ is looking at her like, girl, why would you want, like, basically saying, hold on, this is not what I meant, not in this way. And then as Tia's leaving, you know, she talks crap. You know how it is when you get put out of a party. You too play her to be embarrassed, so you throw out some snarky ass comment. She says, oh, the product is trash, but you look lovely. And then that was the end of the episode. So, yeah. Honestly, this ran over a little more because I had a lot of side notes. But like I said, this episode wasn't really the best. If I had to really rate it, I would rate it maybe like a 6. 5.5 even. So let's just hope it gets better, huh? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for riding with me on my tangents, on my description. I appreciate those who are subscribing to me and following me and watching my videos through and through. Without you, I would not be pushed down to that algorithm, because even though my followers are small, my views are going up and I am having more impressions on my videos. So even you just showing up, every little bit helps, you know. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get there though. I'm gonna get there. I may be one of y'all top 5s within the next year or two. Stay tuned. All right, y'all. It's your girl D Green 2.0. Peace and blessings. I'm gonna get at it. Talk to you soon. Bye now.